Okay, so the new postman, actually, before we start talking with new postman, are there any questions about assignment number 1, ethical dilemma?
Yes, please. Can you briefly explain what we should do about the assignment, please?
Okay. Did you read my instructions and watch my videos?
No.
Why not?
But I got the email.
Okay.
That once we posted, we should post it on discussion board.
Yeah, so make sure if I send you email, if I send you instructions, videos, or whatever it may be, make sure you read and watch them carefully, so that so you can start working earlier, and then so that I don't have to repeat myself too many times. But basically, okay, I'm gonna go over this quickly. Share my screen with you. So do you see my screen? Yes, do you see my screen? Okay, it's just probably the quickest is to use a microphone and camera, because then I have to go to the chat and read, and then, so if you can respond with voice or video or
yes.
both, great. Yeah.
Yes, you can see.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, so under discussion boards, I created the assignment number 1, ethical dilemma, is created as a discussion board. Okay, so if you go to discussions and then you scroll down, there are a few discussions that you will do in this class, but basically this is assignment number 1, ethical dilemma. And I've posted instructions here. Okay, so you are to come up with a ethical dilemma, or you can talk about anything that's happening around the world in terms of an ethical dilemma. You can talk about something personal, you can talk about something local, but it has to be presented as an ethical dilemma. Okay, I give you here examples. And then you are supposed to use, you're required to solve the ethical dilemma with the use of one of the ethical theories that you have studied: utilitarianism, the ontology of virtue ethics. And I have gone over these as well. And there's plenty of material on eCentennial to read and study from. So if you have any questions in terms of applying any of these theories, you can ask me a specific question today. And then once this is done, once you do that, okay, once you solve the dilemma in your analyses, then you are required to respond to at least 2 ethical dilemmas and analyses from your classmates in our class. Okay, and that's basically, so that's going to be worth 5 marks each. In a short paragraph, make sure whenever you say something, whenever you respond to someone else's dilemma and solution, make sure you justify your position, why you think it is good, or maybe incomplete, or maybe there's a different solution or a better solution, or maybe a different theory would apply better or would have a different solution. So either way, whatever you claim, whatever you state, has to be justified. You have to explain yourself. This, of course, doesn't have to be a long essay, but just a short paragraph with explanation is sufficient. And then, so that's basically, so once you post, you'll be able to respond to your classmates. You won't be able to respond to your classmates unless you post. Okay, so you can just copy paste from your Word document and go to the discussion board, and then start a new thread. And then you copy paste your dilemma and your analysis, so that other students can see it, can read it, and can respond to it. No, this is not an essay. This is just written in paragraph form. I didn't say it was an essay. You can, if you want, you can use any ethical dilemma, okay? As long as you basically apply, as long as you explain it clearly, and as long as you apply any of the ethical theories to analyze it, to come up with a solution to it. So if you're using a dilemma from a movie, then you should reference it. If you're using a dilemma that's in the news or a situation that's happening around the world, you should definitely reference it, or you should cite it. If it's something that's happening in your life, then you describe it and you don't have to reference it. If the ethical dilemma comes from a different source, then you have to cite it, yes. So once you do this, okay, I want you to also accept responses, okay? Once you do this, I want you to also create a one Word document or a PDF file, doesn't matter, where you will have your dilemma and your analysis, and submit it to the assignment Dropbox, okay? The same content, basically. So here, assignments, ethical dilemma, you drop it in here. So that I can see, the system will check for originality reports, okay? So that, you know, we can see whether your work is cited well or referenced well, and if it's not plagiarized word by word from somewhere. Okay, if you're quoting someone, then you have to quote it properly. So remember, so this is basically an originality report to check for, as the name says, originality of your work. And if if this is not your idea, then just make sure you cite it. If it's not from a movie, then make sure you cite it or give a reference. But your analysis has to be original. It has to be your analysis, or it can be a dilemma that's described by you of a given situation that's unfolding, like I said, internationally in the world, nationally or locally, whatever it may be. It can be political, it can be personal, it can be related to sports, it can be related to business, it can be related to community matters or affairs, whatever it may be, as long as it is presented as a dilemma. So make sure you drop this into, not responses, but just your dilemma and your analysis in one document into the Dropbox by September 30th. And then by September 30th, you should also do it in the discussion board, but I will leave the discussion board open for a week or so that you can respond to your classmates, okay? So it's the same content, but the Dropbox is for originality report, and the discussion board is for engaging with your classmates about dilemmas and solutions. Okay, is this clear? Okay. Excuse me. So now the other assignment that's coming up, for which I sent you videos from last year, the dates are not important, but the content, my descriptions and my instructions to you are important. Okay, here I posted new posts and materials and presentations. I also sent you an email. So New Postman is your next assignment, and it's basically on critiquing, learning to critique from New Postman's target article, learning to critique technology. And since we are surrounded by technology, various types of technologies, they all have advantages and disadvantages. The next assignment is a group assignment in which you will critique and analyze specific technology. So the due date for that assignment is going to be, let me just move this. It's going to be, I think, October, after the engagement week. Let's say October 17th, whatever the Tuesday is. Either October 17th or 18th. But I will set it for the Dropbox. So you will drop your materials, one document with links or whatever it may be. This is a video presentation because this is an online class. And just stop sharing for a second and then I'll try this again. 1 second. Okay. So the target article for the presentation, your video presentation, or PowerPoint and video presentation is this 5 things to know about technological change. You also have, it's divided into ideas here and short excerpts. And the target article is here. Okay, so the article is divided into 5 sections or 5 ideas. And you can here play and listen and also read as the article is divided into 5 ideas, and then the article itself. Okay, 5 things to know about technological change. This was written and this was given as a lecture in 1998. But the ideas are very current. You can apply them to any technology at any time in our, you can say, technological advancement or development at any time in human history, basically, because these are philosophical ideas. So they withstand the test of time. Now, idea number 1 is that I'm just going to go over these briefly, and then I'll go over. Okay, but before I do that, I should just mention to you as well that the instructions for doing the Postman presentation are here under Postman presentation updated document. You have instructions here. You have to get into a group, okay? There are instructions on how to create video presentations based on using your PowerPoint presentations. You can embed videos in your PowerPoints. You can also create a video based on a Zoom meeting with your classmates. There are different ways of doing this, but here I provide you with information. I also provide you with a rubric according to which I will grade your presentation. So since the assignment is divided into since the article is divided into 5 sections, ideally you will have 5 group members in each group, and you will be responsible. So each person will be responsible, ideally. So there are 5 ideas in the article. Each person takes 1 idea. So that will be up to you how you divide the workload and who takes which idea and who presents which idea in your group. that's up to you. But remember, in order to sign up for a group, you have to go to under communication, you have to go to groups, and you have to change the category from assignment number 2 that will come later to poster and presentation groups. And here, as I can see, students have already started signing up. But there are a lot of groups that are, a lot of technological groups, groups that are named after specific technologies are still open. You have to get into these groups as soon as possible. Okay, social media group is full. Electric cars and self-driving cars almost full. There's room for 1 person here. When you click on your group, you will get a list of who's in your group, and then you can contact your group members as soon as possible. Establish, a way of communicating with each other and start planning, dividing the work, doing your research, etc. Okay, this will require a lot of work. So you need to organize yourself as soon as possible, get into groups, communicate on a regular basis. If someone doesn't communicate or is being uncooperative or somehow disruptive to the whole process, then please let me know as soon as possible, and I will deal with that person myself. But I need to know the details so that you can go ahead and do your work properly and have enough time. So that is basically how you go about the business of getting into groups and communicating with each other. Like I said, this assignment has a lot of moving parts, so you need to be well prepared. You need to have enough time. So don't do this the night before. If you do this the night before, you will mess it up 100%. So make sure you give yourself enough time to do the work. Days and weeks fly by pretty quickly. So don't leave this until the last moment. Take my advice, and if you take my advice and put in the work and prepare well, then you will be rewarded with a good grade. If not, then most likely a bad grade. Basically, simple as that. And along the way, as we meet each week, and of course over email as well, you can ask me questions. The engagement week is from October 10th to the 15th. So your assignment will be due, I think, whatever the Tuesday is, I think October 18th. So this week you should finalize who will be in your groups and start working on dividing the work. And putting together your assignments. And here I also posted a document, steps for group video presentations. You're supposed to use this. You're required to use these steps. These steps were written by a student for doing your presentation. You can use this format, or you can use any other format for video presentation. Whatever you use, you basically have to submit me a link, either if you put it on YouTube, or if it's a document, if it's a PowerPoint document with embedded videos, that's fine too, or voiceovers, that's okay too. Either way, I need to have access to the document. I need to have access to the links, make sure that all of that works well, that I have access to such documents or files. So that when it comes to watching or listening, or watching and listening, then I have appropriate access and I can do my job. So documents are here. If you haven't read over Neil Postman's target article, then you have to, because without it, the presentation does not make sense. Now I will go over briefly. I will go over some of these ideas briefly now, but it is your responsibility to read this over carefully. And if if you have questions, then I can answer specific questions over email, or you can take questions today. I will take questions today or next week. Now, how many of you that are here, how many of you have read the target article? Okay, well, that's good. If you haven't, then you need to go through it carefully again, because that's important for understanding the material and, of course, for presenting or putting your presentation together. So idea number one says that, briefly, technology is a trade-off. Okay, technology gives and technology takes away. Yes, your presentation is based on the 5 ideas. You have to explain each idea, then you have to apply it to your technology. So for example, if you one second. If whatever technology you have signed up for, whether it's electric cars or gene editing, whatever it may be, you take that technology, or Lambda by AI technology, such as Lambda by Google, you take that technology and you basically analyze it from the perspective of each idea. So if you have 5 group members in your group, then each group member takes one idea. It's basically your call who does which idea, but each person will take turns and present the idea, what the idea means, and then analyze the given technology that you're responsible to learn about and research based on the idea. Okay, so idea number 1 says technology is a trade-off. Technology gives and takes. Okay, so what that means is that technology creates advantages and disadvantages almost immediately. So if you look at, let's say, you look at a car, or if you look at a plane, or if you look at cell phones or TV, a car will potentially can potentially protect you, save your life, but it can also kill you. A car can give you experience, comfort, but it will also give you traffic, higher payments each month, monthly payments that you have to pay for a car. You have to buy gas, you have to fix the car, and so on and so forth. So it will take your resources away, it will take your money away, it will take your time away when you're stuck in traffic. It will clog up cities, it will destroy environments because you have to build roads for cars, and it could add to climactic problems or climactic disasters. But on the other hand, it gives you convenience, it gives you experience, and it gives you comfort. You can use it whenever you like. You can go potentially whenever you like. Okay, so that's basically what he means by technology giving you something and technology taking something away from you. If you look at a cell phone, okay, the cell phone potentially gives you access to information. It gives you can message or call anyone at a given time. If they pick up a response to you. The cell phone is mobile, it's with you. You don't have to go to a phone booth, you don't have to go home to make calls. You can readily use your phone wherever you are. Okay, you have that flexibility, you have that mobility, you have potentially an immediate access to a lot of information. Okay, so that's what it gives you. But what it takes away from you is takes money away because you have to pay a bill. You can lose it on a regular basis, so it adds stress. You have to charge it on a regular basis, so you have to worry about that. You have to also worry about when you leave your house or your place or your apartment or your room or whatever, you always have to remember to take it with you. It takes your time away. Sometimes we spend a lot more time on our cell phones being entertained, doing whatever it is that we do. And we could, instead of doing that, quote unquote, wasting our time on using our phones, we could be doing something else, something better, something more, maybe more interesting, more educational, something that would be basically an alternative, maybe not better alternative, but potentially a better alternative. So you don't get the time that you use on specific tasks or on specific technologies. In the grand scheme of things, you don't get that time back. It's a decision that you make. I will use my time doing this, or I will use my time doing that. So that is a give and take. It gives you, let's say, it gives you the ability to contact, to call, to message, to access information, but it also takes away your money, your time. That is, time is very precious, and money is also quite precious. And you always have to worry about whether you have it with you and whether it's charged, and not to lose it. Okay, so that is basically what Neil Postman means by advantages and disadvantages, or technology gives or giveth or taketh away. And you can say that about any technology. Okay, is this clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Thank you for your response. I'm just reading through the chat. Now there's an online quiz they have to do. I don't know if you remember, but it's online quiz on the first week. I think it closes tomorrow, or maybe by the end of the week. Let me check. The assessments. No. Quizzes. Quizzes, under quizzes. September 20th. Oh, it already closed. Okay. If you have not done the quiz, then let me know. Okay. Okay. And now idea number two. Idea number two. Idea number two is that the advantages and disadvantages of a given technology are never distributed evenly among the population. Okay, so for example, what Neil Postman means by this, we can use TV and cell phones again, especially since cell phones is not a technology that you're required to analyze for your assignment. And I did this purposefully. Postman says that some people reap a lot of benefits from specific technologies, and they are called winners, or they call themselves winners. And people who don't reap any benefits, or to the contrary, they lose out, and they are called losers. Excuse me. And you can also have a group of people that's somewhat neutral in society. They neither lose or win because of specific technologies. So with cell phones, for example, or TV, So if you have not done the quiz, then you should email me directly, okay? And then I'll tell you what to do. The online quiz, that is. So idea number 2 is about winners and losers of specific technologies in our environment. So for Neil Postman, even though he doesn't talk about cell phones in the article, he talks about TV, but we can apply that, as I said, we can apply his ideas to any technology at any given time. People who design software, people who design hardware, people who sell cell phones, people who create applications that are used on cell phones, those are mainly the people who are in the business of making, producing, creating, and selling cell phone technology are the winners, because they reap the most benefits. Now, some consumers of that technology will also be winners. It will depend if their time, their money and their time that they spend on using cell phones is rewarded. To what extent? It doesn't have to be monetary only. You can have other rewards from using cell phones. So, and there also will be losers. So for example, I consider myself in some ways a loser of cell phone technology, because, you know, with the changes that have been created, with, you know, years after its inception of cell phone technology, stationary phones have been eliminated. So now everyone, or almost everyone, has a cell phone, and it's a substitute for a landline or for a stationary phone. And with that, there's a bill you have to pay. And with that, you have to worry not to lose your phone. And with that, you have to worry to charge your phone. And with that, you have to learn how to navigate the applications, and so on and so forth. Okay, so I personally don't think that I have benefited much from a cell phone. The only way that I have benefited from it is that it is a substitute for a hardline or a landline or a stationary phone. But when I had access to stationary phones and I was using stationary phones, I did not have a pressing need or a problem to use cell phones. The world to me prior, and to people, and many people prior, did not have a pressing problem, an international problem, a global problem where we had to come up with cell phones, because that with cell phone use we would solve some sort of international global problem. So this is basically how Neil Postman looks at technology. Ask yourself, was there a problem that existed before, prior to creation of a specific technology, that now with the creation of a specific technology, that problem is solved? If that's not the case, then what was that technology created for? What's the point? Are we solving problems, or are we creating more problems? If we're creating more problems for ourselves, then we should definitely take a hard look at what we create and why. Okay, so this is basically a critical or philosophical way of looking at what technology means for us. Are our lives better with some technologies, or worse? Are we solving problems with technologies, or are we creating more problems? Have our lives gained quality because of specific technologies, or to the contrary, have our lives lost quality or meaning because of specific technologies? Okay, these are questions that Postman thinks about, and then the 5 ideas that he lists in the target article are basically an extension of such thinking, and an attempt to teach us something crucial about technological use and what it means for us on a daily basis. Does this make sense? Does this make sense what I have just said?
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. So that's basically idea number 2. Okay, so idea number 1 is technology gives and takes away or creates advantages and disadvantages. But the idea number 2 is about the distribution of those advantages and disadvantages. And Neil Postman says they're never equally distributed in a society. Okay, idea number 3 is the most abstract idea. I guess the most difficult idea to understand, but at the same time, once you get it, it's not that difficult. So idea number 3 states that embedded in every technology, there's a powerful idea, sometimes 2 or 3 powerful ideas, or you can say philosophies that drive a specific idea forward, its creation or its development. So for example, with a cell phone, since we're talking about cell phones, you can say, well, the main idea here, the main motivation is to create a phone that is mobile, that you can take with you. Okay, so that you don't have to be at home or you don't have to be at a phone booth or in your office to access a phone. What if we could have a world where we have a phone with us? Okay, so that's what he means by a powerful idea that drives a specific technology. The same thing with a car. You know, what if we could have access to an automobile at any time at our disposal? Not that we have to wait for it, like a bus or a train or a plane. What if we could have one on our own and use it readily? Okay, it's about expedience, it's about comfort, it's about, you could say, freedom too. Well, only to the extent that when you go on the road, you can actually drive. If you're not stuck in traffic. If you're stuck in traffic, then your freedom is limited very quickly. So you can see that there are immediate disadvantages to producing many cars or creating a society where people think that having cars is important, or it's functional, or it's a status statement, or all of those above. So when analyzing here technologies, think about think about 1 or 2 central ideas that drive that motivate the creation and innovation of a given technology. That's what the third idea is all about. So trying to you're trying to see, look at the technology from its basic what's the basic concept, what's the most powerful or basic concept that drives the creation or an innovation, or creation and innovation of a given technology. Yeah, I can give other examples. So we looked at a cell phone, we looked at a car. You know, you can consider anything: a hammer, a watch. Well, what's the point? What's the main idea behind creating a watch or a clock? What are you trying to do with that technology? What's the point of it? Yeah, you want to know time. You want to know what time it is because of work or because of other needs, so societal needs. You also want to know how to count time or how to plan with time. Okay, and so then that becomes part and parcel of our society, because now we have specific technology to tell us exactly what time it is, or what time it will be in the future. So that is the main point. Yes, Sana. So that is the main point. You're trying to nail down the main motivation or the main philosophy or the main idea behind a given technology, or that has driven the creation of a given technology. So if you look at a hammer if you look at a hammer, you want something hard to nail, to either break something hard or to put in a nail in the wall or some other material. You want an extension of your arm that doesn't hurt your arm. Simple as that. But you have to this might take a little bit of time for you to think about, to strip away maybe all the other accessories that come with technology, but they don't really explain why the technology exists in the first place or has existed in the first place, or the reasons why it was created initially, that is, in the first place. So with the use of specific technologies, there come specific ideas or tendencies. So here, New Postman says things like, the television person values immediacy and not history. And computer person would show also a little bit higher, he says, but in a culture with, so he was giving an example of King Solomon, who had great memory, but in the culture of written words, we don't need great memory because we can write down information and then use that as a reference again and again and again. So in King, we are told that King Solomon knew 3,000 proverbs. But in a culture with writing, such feats of memory are considered a waste of time, and proverbs are merely irrelevant fantasies. Now, I don't think proverbs are irrelevant fantasies. They can be quite useful, but remembering them, because we don't have, or we didn't have any other technology to, except brain technology, you could say, to store and access information or store and retrieve information, then that was quite useful. So a specific method can also be considered a piece of technology. Like, let's say, using your computer to draft or to create Excel sheets or Word documents, that is also a technology. Mathematical skills or statistical models, that's also a technology of counting or predicting. So with the writing person, so with such feats of memory are considered a waste of time and so the writing person favors logical organization and systematic analysis, not proverbs. That is why writing is difficult. Okay, in general, writing is difficult because it's about logic, it's about organizing your ideas logically, it's about using proper grammar, and it's also about systematic analysis. Okay, you have to do all three or four different tasks at the same time. Involves knowledge of grammar and use of language, organization, and logical analysis or logical presentation of ideas. And this takes years to master, okay? That is why writing is so difficult. But once you master writing, you have mastered 3 or 4 different skills that are very desirable around the world. You can do many different things. You can perform many different tasks. You can perform many different jobs with such skills: organization, logical thinking, and use of grammar and use of language in general. So when you have such skills, you are desirable by many professions, by many companies, by many professions, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So make sure you invest in such skills. The telegraphic person values speed, not introspection, right? This is basically modern text messaging. It's speed, not introspection, not self-reflection, but speed or expedience of information. The television person values immediacy, not history. Okay, quickly being entertained, not the background of a given context or event, because then that people will consider that to be boring. They want to be entertained. People want to laugh. People want to cry. People want to be frightened, or people want to be odd, or they want to yeah, we want to be entertained, and that's what TV that's how TV has conditioned us to be entertained by actors, by, you know, special effects, by specific technologies or tricks, cinematic or video technologies, to basically entertain us. So people read less, and people are less interested in history because they want to be, they'd rather be entertained. We have become lazy. The same thing with political debates. You know, when you put political debates on TV, it's about commercials. It's about 2 or 3 minutes. It's about sound bites. It's not about content. It's not about reflection. It's not about logical analyses, long presentations. Okay, the format of TV has really changed the way we consume information, the way we engage information, the way we engage our relationship with information, the way we engage history, the way we engage meaning and relevance. Okay, so that is partly also what New Postman means by that. With specific technologies, yeah, our abilities, some of our abilities are magnified, and some of our abilities are magnified, and some are to the contrary. Some become important, and some become less important. So just to give you another simple example, in relation to TV, Neil Postman talks about, you know, before the era of TV, political debates, especially between candidates for political office, used to take hours and days, because in order to answer questions that are related to economy, that are related to governance, that are related to human relationships, that are related to local or foreign affairs, take time to explain. You can't do that in 2 or 3 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and then, okay, we're going to cut to commercial, we're going to come back, and, you know, people start engaging in smearing campaigns, making fun of each other instead of making relevant points or explaining themselves. So TV has made politics into a form of entertainment. Okay, it's through TV that we look at political affairs through the prism or window of political TV that is at political affairs. If you take the technology away, then that reestablishes your relationship with either technology, learning, or political affairs. And computer people, what shall we say about them? Perhaps we can say that computer person values information, not knowledge, certainly not wisdom. And indeed, in the computer age, that's our age, computer age, the concept of wisdom may vanish altogether. And this is quite prophetic, especially when we talk about the phenomenon of misinformation, disinformation, and fake news. Okay. Now, almost anyone can say, "Well, I don't care. That's fake news." So and you know, we should learn, and it should be our responsibility to hold people accountable for such claims. Because once we allow this notion of misrepresentation or fake news to be very powerful, then truth does not take precedent. Truth becomes it takes the back burner. It's not as important. What's important is who shouts more, who shouts louder, who is more powerful, who can demean or ridicule more the other person, who can wield power with money, with drama, with shouting, more so than other people. But it's not about truth. But the problem is that once you lose the capacity to use or respect truth, then it throws off our relationship with ourselves. It throws off our relationship with Earth as an ecological phenomenon, as an astrophysical phenomenon, and there's no beacon of standard. Okay, there's nothing to really aspire to. That means you can't win an argument based on evidence and logical thinking, because arguments are no longer important from that perspective. That means evidence is not important. That means you can question anything. You can say, well, climate change, yeah, that's fake news. Well, it's not fake news, it's actually a real phenomenon, you know. GDP, fake news. Borrowing money, printing money, okay, fake news, right? I mean, then you belittle, and then you, by doing so, you belittle every value, every concept that we hold valuable in our society. And when you do that, that really throws a nasty curveball into what we consider meaningful, valuable, what we trust to be the case, what we need to be the case in order to navigate on a daily basis. It's kind of like removing gravity. If you remove gravity, then you throw off everything else. Gravity, in a way, as a physical phenomenon, physical law, keeps other elements in check, and you can rely on it again and again and again. So truth and evidence is a little bit like that. But if you eliminate truth and evidence, if you find a way to discredit truth and element, then really anything goes. There are no experts, then there is no knowledge, and there is definitely no truth to aspire to or to look for. And that is a big, big problem. So, and we see it unfolding actually in front of us, in front of our eyes, especially with the advent of fake news, and with many politicians, many powerful people discrediting science or philosophy or the importance of truth and evidence and logical thinking, because it doesn't suit them. It doesn't suit their power play. And this is quite evident around the world right now. So that's why I think when Neil Postman says, indeed, in the computer age, the concept of wisdom may vanish altogether, because there's too much value, too much emphasis placed on information, not knowledge or wisdom, learning from that information. Okay. What does it mean for us? Are we talking about matters in terms of truth? Are we looking for evidence? Are we looking for right statements, wrong statements? Or are we just making statements and trying to figure out or to manipulate information for the sake of our gain or political influence or monetary gain or whatever it may be, for the sake of power, not for the sake of any other value? Even though with truth comes a lot of power, but if you find a way to undermine truth, then you also undermine the power that truth gives us. Is this clear? Does this make sense? So again, if you undercut the need and the value for pursuing truth, then you undercut the legitimacy of any claim, really. Any claim is just as valuable and just as invaluable at the same time. The world is flat. The world is round. The world is elliptical. The world is a hexagon. Any claim is right because all the other claims are fake news. So anything is fake news or anything is right. I mean, it ridicules the whole purpose of being right and wrong. It ridicules the whole purpose of pursuing logic and truth or pursuing science. Pursuing truth, basically, or uncovering the truths or laws that exist around us or that govern our lives. Okay. So the internet, because the internet is filled with a lot of information, now the onus is on you to come up with ways to sift through that information. The onus is on you to have the right tools, the right equipment, cognitive equipment or critical thinking skills to figure out what is right and what is wrong, what is truth, what is not, what is fake news, what is proper news, etc. Because the internet allows really any information. So it values information, not what is right and what is accurate. It values information first, and then accuracy or relevance or value or truth later, okay, instead of the other way around. And when you do that, you place emphasis on information as opposed to its relevance, its value, or its accuracy. Does this make sense? Okay. Any questions? Now, idea number 4 is that technological change is not additive, it is ecological. Yes, Sana, that's what it means, but it also means that you're trying to uncover the central idea or central motivation for creating a specific technology. Yes, and that will be different for each technology. So here's the 4th idea: technological change is not additive. It's not just an addition, it's ecological. And what he means by that is that, and he gives it here an analogy. So if you drop a red dye into a beaker of water, into a glass of water, the red dye really spreads throughout the whole glass. It basically permeates every molecule of water in that glass. And that's what technology does to our lives. Now, it's not your life plus the cell phone. It's not your life plus the computer. It's not your life plus internet. It's not your life plus the car. It's with the car. It's with internet. It's with cell phone technology. It's with computers. It's with specific applications or artificial intelligence. Okay, it's part and parcel of our life. These technologies become part and parcel of our lives, like other people or clothing or the routines that we engage in on a daily basis. So it's not just an addition, it's basically another member of your family. It's becomes another routine that you engage with, that you have to worry about, that you have to remember about, and so on. And this is true for many other technologies. A refrigerator or an oven. Try living without a refrigerator. Try living without electricity. We are very, very dependent on electricity. If you take electricity away, it would completely change our lives, and I think it would create so much chaos. We would be basically acting like primitive animals. Yes, technology doesn't only change the world, it also changes the way how we perceive it. That's very true. And that's true for idea number 3, and the other ideas to some extent as well. So with the advent or with the introduction of a given technology, we look at the world differently. We have a different relationship with the world. We just need to stop and reflect a little bit to see how that unfolds, how that happens, how it influences us. Is it a positive influence or a negative influence, or maybe neutral influence? And we also have to gauge, because technology really doesn't care about us. We have to care about ourselves in terms of how technology affects us. Because the cell phone, you know, your cell phone, your TV, your car doesn't really care about you. It's not an entity that empathizes, sympathizes, is compassionate. Yes, there are artificial intelligence that maybe try to organize your life, but then, you know, but then you stop using your mind. You stop using cognition that used to be quite helpful to you, because now you have relegated that thinking to some extent, or organizing, to a piece of technology. So a simple example, let's say in my camera, there's a rear view camera that's really useful for parking in rear. So when you back up, you can use your backup camera. So once I started using my backup camera, I noticed that my driving skills, my parking skills have deteriorated. I'm still a good driver, but in terms of parking, I rely on my camera too much. That means I have lost the skill to use the mirrors and to turn and to gauge the distance and to understand the extent, the dimensions of my car in the back in order to park properly. I have lost that, or it has been diminished in quality because I have relied on my camera. So that is partly what Neil Postman means, that, and as Sana has said, technology will change our relationship with the world, how we perceive the world, how we relate to it, how we move in it, what we do in it, how we think with specific technologies. Because specific technologies will either magnify specific skills or take away specific skills, or diminish or belittle specific skills. And that can be quite significant, or it can be petty, it can be trivial, banal. But in the case of, let's say, parking or counting or thinking, heavily reliant on specific technologies, that becomes a big problem. And we were reminded of this when the internet, let's say, was inaccessible. Internet connections were inaccessible because there was an outage with Rogers. And that actually, a few people died because a few seniors died because of that. Just one day, or just a few hours, just one day without access to internet or internet connections. So that shows really how we have become dependent on specific technologies. And if you take that away, then it has shown us that we are quite fragile without it. And really, that shouldn't be the case, but it is the case because we consider it to be natural, normal, which is a good segue, I think, to idea number 5. Technological change. Some technologies tend to become mythic. Okay, by mythic, Neil Postman means that technologies, we consider such technologies like, let's say, cell phones or cars or computers or the internet or watches or hammers or airplanes as natural states of affairs, like trees, grass, the sky, birds, water, oxygen, etc. We think that such technologies, we think almost that such technologies have been here, or such things have been here since the beginning of time, or they were almost God-given. When the world was created, it was created with internet, something like that. So because we have become so dependent, we have become so accustomed to technologies that we think that people who don't engage or don't enjoy or don't use such technologies as we do on a daily basis, such as cell phones, cars, airplanes, electricity, and so on, that it is unnatural. It would be unnatural to use such technologies or to be exposed to such technologies. We forget about the fact that such technologies at some point were created, but we have grown so accustomed to them that we take them for granted, and we take for granted our relationship to them or our dependence on them. Yes. So we have to remind ourselves that technologies have been created for specific reasons, that technologies create advantages and disadvantages on a regular basis, that technologies create winners and losers on regular basis, that technologies have been created with specific motivations or specific ideas, that technologies become part and parcel of our lives, that we are heavily dependent on technologies, and to the extent where we consider technologies to be natural states of affairs or natural elements or things such as, you know, trees, water, leaves, or oxygen. Now, what happens, that the problem with technology, specific technologies becoming mythic, is that we are lulled, or we are subjected to thinking or feeling that we don't have to question technologies. Why should I have a TV at home? Why should I have a cell phone? You know, just that question, why should I? Yeah, the whole world is telling me to get a cell phone, but why should I? The whole world is telling me to get a new TV, but why should I? The whole world is telling me to drive a car, but why should I? So when as technologies become mythic, or acquire the status of being mythic, we no longer question the very legitimacy of that technology, or the very legitimacy of its use or importance or relevance for us. Just because other people think, or other companies think, that we should buy them, that doesn't mean we should. Okay, so that question of basically stopping and pausing and being skeptical, questioning the very use of specific technologies or specific habits that we engage with technologies. Let's say coming home and turning on the TV. Why should I do that? Well, because many people do that. Well, just because many people do that, that doesn't mean we all have to do that, or we should do that. It's a different way of thinking, different way of thinking, and also creating a relationship to a given technology. One that Neil Postman hopes would give us time to pause and think about technology's relevance and importance and meaning for us, as opposed to technology running, governing, and controlling our lives. So that's basically it. Those are the 5 ideas. So in your presentation, you will be expected to briefly explain the idea, and then in more detail apply the idea to the technology, to the group, or the technology that has been assigned to your group, or the group that you have signed up for, whether it's self-driving cars, electric cars, gene editing, COVID-19 mRNA vaccines, whichever group or technology you sign up for, that is the technology you have to learn about, you have to do research about, and you take that technology and you basically run it through the 5 ideas. You analyze that technology through the 5 ideas as they are described, and or proposed by Neil Postman. Okay, that's basically the task. Does this make sense? Okay, that's good. Sana, what do you mean, do we have a quiz in technology? What do you mean by that? You mean the online quiz or? Yes, that closed. That was based on, that was not on technology. That was based on ethics. The first 2 weeks of ethics. I think that closed on the 20th. So if you missed the quiz, then email me directly and I will tell you what to do, okay? No, there's not going to be another quiz. You will have discussion boards. There's actually a discussion board coming up on technology week 5, and I'm going to actually set it up right now because we are in week 4. We're in week 4, right? Let me just check. One, 2, 3, 4. Yes. So there's a 27. Let me just go back to so under communications, again, you will find another discussion board. I'm just going to share my screen with you again. So that's artificial intelligence, because that is the week of week 5. That's the content. So here I have to change the due dates. So that was set up last year. It doesn't matter. Again, the start date, end date, that's important. So I can leave it open until Sunday. Second. So make sure so the instructions are relatively simple. Do you think that AI should be developed to its fullest potential? You're supposed to go over the material that's on AI, artificial intelligence, why and why not. You need to clearly discuss your view based on at least one of the concepts or ideas discussed in week 5 lecture notes. Please post your view by starting a new thread. You need to respond to at least 2 others postings by asking meaningful questions or expressing your view. Also, make sure to respond to anyone who has responded to your original thread. Okay. So that's basically week 5, artificial intelligence. You're required to go over this information. And then there's additional information here. Remember, there are self-check quizzes based on the content of each week. So I suggest you do them for the sake of just testing yourself, testing your knowledge as you move along. So this will end on, so no, okay, that's actually week 5. So I should extend this a little bit longer because we are in week 4. Should have extended. Okay, are there any other questions? Just doing a little bit of administrative work and thinking out loud. But you can stop me at any time to ask questions. So the way the discussion boards are set up is that you can't respond to anyone else unless you start a post. Okay, so make sure that you get on this horse as soon as possible. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll be able to respond to your classmates. So don't leave this until the night before, because you won't be able to respond to anyone. Simple as that. Okay. And then later on, you will have a genetically modified discussion. I will send you a prompt. I will remind you. I think that's coming up week 7. Okay, so if you are not in groups yet, the most important thing now is for you to get into groups. Make sure you change the category from assignment number 2. I will start creating groups here as well to post my presentation. Okay, make sure you sign up for any of these technologies and start communicating with your class members or your group members. Read over the instructions for under assignments, for the assignment and creating video presentations. And yes, just start organizing your work and start doing your research and start dividing your work over your classmates. So the sooner you organize, the sooner you will know who does which idea, the sooner you can start working on this. So you can create I don't know, a WhatsApp group so you can communicate together. That's fine. There's a question by Guillermo about that. That's fine with me. You can do whatever you need to do in order to get together, organize, and perform well. But remember, if you get into a problem, you can't solve a problem. Someone is uncooperative, disrespectful, is unprofessional, then let me know as soon as possible. Okay. And make sure if that's a member in your group, then make sure you send out a message to me and you include everyone in the group in the message. So I know that everyone knows about this problem and who it is that we need to deal with. Okay. And this way we can solve the problem, hopefully. And if not, then we'll have to change or eliminate group members. Okay, but let me know as soon as possible if you can't. If you see that your questions or your courteous or professional questions or attempts to reach out to someone, messages or emails do not work, then don't wait too long because you're running out of time. Let me know as soon as possible, and I will help you. Okay, so that's basically it for today. If you have any questions, go right ahead. If you don't, then we're done for today. I will just stick around for another 5 minutes or so if anyone has questions.
Hi, Professor.
Hi.
I actually had a question regarding this first assignment. We have to do the ethical dilemma assignment. So I wrote 2 ethical dilemmas and I answered them, but I'm confused on which one to post. So
Okay.
is there any way I can tell you and you tell me the one that is like the one, if it's which one is good? Only the dilemma, the solutions I will do it.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, you can definitely ask me, share with me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wrote one I wrote religious beliefs versus nurses scientific knowledge
Hmm.
and explained it further. And then the other one is like, should I choose a career based on my interest or on the potential for financial gain?
Okay.
Yeah. So those are the two dilemmas, but
For
now
both
I'm
of
not
you.
sure.
So what are the
The
advantages and disadvantages? We have to think of advantages and we have to set it up in terms of choices or advantages and disadvantages for both option.
the advantages and disadvantages.
Yes.
So we have to write the solution, yeah, like the virtue ethics or like deontology or
Yes, you're required to use one of the theories, just one. You choose which one to solve basically your dilemma.
one of the theories to solve my dilemma.
Yes.
So the do you think that like the one that I've written like personally that I should choose a career based on my interest or potential financial gain, or one that I've written for global like religious belief versus nurses scientific knowledge?
Yes, I mean both dilemmas are good as long as there are ethical ethical repercussions for choosing one over the other.
Okay.
If you choose a life of religious belief as opposed to scientific belief, what does that life mean?
Okay.
If it's vice versa, what does it mean? Why are you torn? Okay. If you pursue a career that's based on your passions,
Yeah.
why is that good? What does it mean for you or for other people that are in your life? If you pursue a career based on monetary interests, why is that good? Why is that bad? Why is that valuable or less valuable according to an alternative? Okay, so you have to set it up like that.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you, Professor.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. So, Alan, do you have a specific question? Well, that sounds so that this is good, Alan, but this sounds like a discussion board for week number 5. So I think you should tackle this question for the artificial intelligence discussion.
Oh, so I can't use this for dilemma?
No, because it's very similar to, unless you set it up specifically, there is something specific that you want to tackle.
Oh, so yeah, I did like one paragraph of this, like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly about like the advantage and disadvantage of both of the options and all. Yeah. So
Is there something specific that you're talking about?
mostly about unemployment. It could lead when I talk about the ethical dilemma. I choose the greatest on the utilitarianism and
Yeah, but what technology specifically are you talking about?
mostly on robots, the robotic ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can use this as a dilemma.
Yeah, so I have to be specific on what type of artificial intelligence I'm using, right?
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Are there any other questions? No? Okay. Well, then take care, and I'll talk to you soon. All the best.